top of the morning, and it is a beaut.
And the hope of the Irish as the future champion of the world.
A podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio.
Welcome to the Barry J. McDonald podcast. The place where dreams get dusted off and acted on. Because life is too short. We're living on a rock that's flying through space, and hey, what the hell else were you going to do with yourself here?
Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode. Now, let me ask you a question. I seem to be starting a lot of podcasts recently with that thought, asking you a question, but I want to ask you another question today. Have you got any goals? Is there something that you would like to achieve? Maybe you have something written on a post-it note stuck to your laptop or maybe on your mirror or whatever, and you've said to yourself, I'm going to lose this weight in 6 months, or I'm going to write this book, or I'm going to start this blog by the end of the year, or I'm going to podcast or whatever. Maybe you have, some type of goal. Maybe it's a money goal. Maybe you would like to achieve, a certain amount of money by the end of the year, and that is what you're striving toward. Now, how many times have you had goals like that in the past and never achieved it? Those 6 months would pass, that year would pass, and, nothing changed. You didn't make any more money, you didn't lose any more weight, you didn't write the book, you didn't get the project started. And, for you, possibly, goal setting is just a waste of time. Now, I talked about this in the podcast episode a long time ago, but one of the things that used to kind of, really piss me off or really annoy me about goal setting was, you'd see all these experts say, set a goal, write it down on a piece of paper and read it every day, and, this will suddenly transform your life, that suddenly you'll have that sports car, or you'll have the $10,000 a month, or you'll have this and you'll have that. And I used to find that even though I used to write all those things down, it never changed. Nothing ever changed. And because nothing changed, I used to think, well, maybe it's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm just one of those people who will never achieve all those things that I write down, that it will never happen to me. And I used to sometimes think, well, there's something wrong with me. Maybe you feel like that too. Maybe you feel that, you'll never be able to achieve those goals that you've written down on that piece of paper. You'll never have the huge bank balance, or you'll never write the book, and all those different things. And maybe you have just resigned yourself to where you are right now. You aren't going to be one of those people in the sports car, or you're not going to be an author or whatever, and you've just given up. Now, if you have, hopefully maybe today's podcast episode might maybe relight that spark, or might make you think of your goals in a different way. Because I was just listening to a recent, it's probably a very, very old podcast episode from Ed Milet, and he was talking about goals, and he said if you set a goal, the next step you need to do after setting that goal is write down a list of reasons of why you want to achieve that goal. Now, I hadn't heard many people actually talk about that. The experts would say write it down on a piece of paper, read it every day, and suddenly all these magical things would happen. But Ed has a good point in that, there's no point in writing down that you're going to make $10,000 a month if you haven't a reason to do that, or a really strong enough reason. Now, he talks about his own health and how his doctor convinced him with the reason that he needed to clean up his diet, he needed exercise to take care of his heart, or he wouldn't be around for his daughter wasn't born at the time, but he just said, you're not going to be around for your daughter's wedding, and you are probably going to find maybe another man living in your home in a few years' time, maybe married to your wife and sharing your kids' lives, because you won't be on the planet anymore. And he said as soon as that reason was said to him, it didn't matter what the doctor had told him, medication, exercise or whatever, that didn't matter, because he had a strong enough reason to take action on the advice he's given. Now, he just said, a lot of other doctors would probably hand over that information and say, you need to clean up your diet, or you need to exercise, and leave it at that, and expect that person to take action on that and go after that goal. But Ed said that, from listening to that advice and just picturing that scenario in his head of, some other man sitting at the breakfast table with his wife and his kids living in his house, it totally transformed that goal, and he found it far, far more, achievable. And on those days when he didn't want to exercise or he didn't want to eat properly, that image came into his head, and suddenly he had enough motivation to exercise and to do whatever he needed to do. So if you are setting goals at the moment, or maybe you have set goals in the past and you haven't achieved them, it is probably due to the fact that, like Ed said, you just haven't had a list of reasons. You hadn't a strong enough why to do the thing that you want to do. If you had a strong enough why reason to write a book, you would have no problem sitting down every day and writing a book. If you had a strong enough reason to create TikTok videos, again, you'd have no problem, and you wouldn't be afraid of the embarrassment, or you wouldn't be afraid of the criticism, because that's not important to you. Your strong enough reason why would be the thing that would power you through all that negativity, and you would show up every day to record your TikTok videos. So whatever you have right now, maybe you do have a goal, or maybe you have given up on the idea of it, but maybe it's time just to dust off that goal that you had and just write it down on a piece of paper. And what you'll need to do is you'll need to think about that goal. Why do you want that extra money? Now, if it's just to pay a bill or something like that, it's probably not a big enough why. Sometimes we need to dig really deep down. What is this goal going to do for us? How is it going to make us feel? Is it going to help our health? If we lose this weight, how is our life going to transform? And dig down deep into the reason why you want to achieve that goal. Because as Ed said, it's one thing writing a goal down on a piece of paper, but you'll never be able to compete with someone who has a huge reason to achieve the things that they want to achieve. So dig down deep today, come up with a list of reasons of why you want to achieve that goal, and then you will find that you'll show up more often, you'll be motivated, you'll jump out of bed. It'll anger you not to work on that goal because you have a huge reason of why you need to do it. Try it out and let me know how you get on. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Before you go, Barry would like to give you a free copy of Words to Wealth. In it, he's going to show you 10 ways to make money from writing. Head on over to writecome.com now for your copy. Have a great day and come back soon.